Meet Michael Brady, who tragically caused the death of 4 prison workers while trying to escape from Pasco Tank Correctional Institution in North Carolina.
I stabbed him like 4 to 8 times. I could go get whatever tool I needed to break down that pallet. All I gotta go up there and say, hey, I need a hammer.
Brady was serving a 24-year prison sentence for attempting murder to a North Carolina state trooper. He committed a horrendous act alongside 3 other inmates. 4 prison workers lost their lives as Brady and his accomplices used hammers and scissors to carry out these brutal murders.
Michael Brady beat that man, George Midget, like he was trying to bust concrete.
Brady attempted to jump over a fence as a last-ditch effort to escape. Unfortunately, someone discovered him and held him at gunpoint, leading to his capture.
He was swinging a hammer like he was trying to bust a cinder block.
During the trial, the prosecution contended that Brady deliberately orchestrated the attack and displayed no remorse for the murders.
We know who originated the plan. We know who led the plan.
And sir, you don't believe you're crazy, do you?
No, I don't think I'm crazy, no.
And you do know the difference between right and wrong?
Yes.
So you know murder is wrong?
Murder is a different name for a death, but yes, the facts straight.
Jury unanimously recommending that the defendant be sentenced to death.
Brady shows no visible emotions as the judge, after thoughtful consideration, ultimately decides in favor of the death penalty. In Waynesville, Ohio, Austin Myers and Timothy Mosley found themselves convicted of the murder of 18-year-old Justin Back. Both targeted Back's residence, aiming to steal a safe belonging to his father. Tragically, during the robbery, Back lost his life as he was strangled with a choke wire by the 2 men, Myers and Mosley.
The idea of strangling them, that way it would create no mess, pretty much be an easier job to handle. Obviously, Justin was trying to put up a fight, and he wasn't overpowering us.
Justin Back was then stabbed 21 times until he died.
Justin was trying to ask us why. He was pleading to stop, and pretty much begging for his life.
On trial, Mosley took the stand and testified against Myers to secure a plea bargain, admitting guilt and receiving a life sentence. Now, as Myers faced the jury, he stood before them, passionately asking for mercy to protect his family, desperately seeking to evade the imminent threat of a death sentence.
Choose for me to die. It's only going to cause more pain and suffering for another family, not me. It won't hurt me. I won't feel anything. It's going to hurt more innocent people.
This is now the father of Justin Back speaking.
I'm not going to stand up here and tell you how much I hate you. That is without question. I would just hope that every time you close your eyes at night, you see my son Justin.
Facing the jury's recommendation for the death penalty, Myers now stands before the judge, pouring out his final plea for mercy, desperately seeking to spare his own life.
I've made a horrible mistake. I'm only 19 years old. I think there's a lot of good things I can do with my life if you allow me to keep my life.
Even though Myers begged, the judge didn't buy it. Instead, he gave Myers the toughest sentence possible.
The defendant does not understand how precious life is. Therefore, the sentence of death shall be imposed upon Austin Gregory Myers on the charge of aggravated murder.
At just 19 years old, Myers didn't even nod when he got the death penalty, making him the youngest person in Ohio on death row. Currently, he's waiting for execution at Chillicothe, the correctional institution. This is Nico Jenkins. He got convicted for 4 murders during a 10-day killing spree in Omaha, Nebraska. When he was just 15, they sent him to a youth correctional place, and he did 10 years for stealing a car and hurting someone. After he got out, about a month later, he shot and killed 2 people during a robbery. Then 8 days after that, he killed a guy he knew from prison. The guy got shot in his own garage. 2 days later, Jenkins killed his 4th victim during a carjacking. He got arrested on some other charges, but that's when the cops connected the bullets to Jenkins for one of the killings.
I got Nico Jenkins. Do you not realize that? I got Nico Jenkins. I got you.
What do you mean you got me?
I got your DNA at the murder scene. I got your DNA in the car.
Sir.
I got the weapon. I got Nico Jenkins.
Jenkins pleaded no contest. He admitted to 4 counts of first-degree murder, Also, he gave up his right to a jury trial, meaning 3 judges will decide if he's innocent or guilty.
Murders was a deliberate and planned act. The victims were pre-selected and the murders were purposeful.
Once Jenkins is declared guilty of all 4 murders, he stays quiet, hardly moving, and now it's time for the sentence.
Therefore, this panel finds that the death penalty is appropriate, should be, and is hereby given for each of the 4 murders by the defendant.
As Jenkins gets the death sentence, he looks totally unfazed. He is currently locked up in the Nebraska State Penitentiary, waiting for the execution. This is Martin Abram, who is convicted for killing 2 Walmart workers in South Haven, Mississippi. Abram used to work at Walmart but got suspended because he had a knife in the store. On the day they suspended him, he came back with a bunch of weapons and started shooting, and he killed store managers Anthony Brown and Brandon Gales.
He was laying on the ground with his eyes open, and I ran up to him and I looked at him. I said, Anthony, honey, please say KC one more time.
He also shot a cop, but the officer survived because of his bulletproof vest.
Once I got out of my vehicle, I heard gunshots and I felt the pressure of the bullet hit my back.
He got caught on the spot. Now in court, Abram admits to all the crimes.
Mr. Gale is on the floor going down at this point, isn't he?
Yes.
Okay, and that's you shooting him, right?
Yes.
Okay, proceed. Now, after that, you went back to the toilet paper aisle, didn't you?
Yes.
This is the wife of one of the victims speaking about how the crime has impacted her and her family.
Took Anthony from me on the exact day 20 years earlier that we had our first date.
And now it's the time when the judge will determine what happens to Abram.
Count 1, I will sentence you to death. Count 2, you will be sentenced to death. And count 3, you will be sentenced to life in the penitentiary.
Upon learning that he's getting the death penalty, Abram stays quiet. He now sits on death row, waiting for the execution. This is Markeith Lloyd, convicted to death sentence for killing a police officer in Orlando, Florida.
I'm facing a relationship, but somehow I have absolutely don't know nothing about, and they frame me.
Lloyd was on the run from the cops because he killed his ex-girlfriend who was pregnant. A month later, he's seen in a Walmart. You can watch him walking in. Shortly after, Orlando Police Lieutenant Deborah Clayton arrives. You see her grab a cart and go in. They reportedly cross paths every few minutes inside. Outside, Lieutenant Clayton gets a notification and tries to stop and arrest Lloyd. That's when a shootout starts. Lieutenant Clayton gets shot 4 times and dies. After the murder, Lloyd takes off again, leading to a 9-day manhunt before they catch him. During the arrest, he tries to escape and loses his left eye in the struggle. In court, Lloyd takes the stand, saying he thought everyone was trying to kill him.
And I was just reacting, Mary. I was just reacting. Even when they opened the door, I just reacted. I fired 2 shots,
The jury then find him guilty.
Really hurts deep down inside.
This is Lieutenant Clayton's sister speaking about how the crime has affected her and her family.
She stood in the place as my mother when I didn't have one. I truly miss my sister. I truly miss her.
Now is the moment when Lloyd learns that the jury all agree on suggesting the death penalty.
We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Markeith Lloyd, should be sentenced to death.
Lloyd appears to say something to the public, and shortly after, he has a sudden outburst.
You've been trying to kill me. You've been trying to frame me for murder.
All right, why don't we remove Mr. Lloyd from the courtroom?
Later on, the judge agreed with the jury and sentenced Lloyd to death.